Hello. Of course, I would like to thank you to the Pan-Hellenic Pharmaceutical Association for inviting me today. It's a great pleasure. And today I will try to explain to you some of the PGEU legal activities. You saw how the session was more related to services. So I would like to show you also with some examples, not of all of them, how through our legal action we try also to improve the services of the pharmacy and the pharmacy role. So PGEU is involved in a significant number of dossiers. So just this year we are working in 10 different dossiers. Already you heard about some of them, like for example the TTIP and the falsified directive. Today I was asked to talk about these 3 dossiers. So about the common logo, also we heard something about it, the qualification directive and the CARB, and the data protection regulation. So what I'm going to do is to explain very briefly those dossiers, because many of you are already very familiar with those dossiers, and I will also add something. I will explain to you what PGEU achieved in those dossiers. So in the logo, we already heard before from our French colleagues an explanation of the legislation on internet. The Doc Morris case was mentioned, established that member states must allow the internet selling of non-prescription medicines. And also the falsified directive established that member states can prohibit the internet selling of medicines. So facing this reality, we have the European logo. The Commission wanted to ensure the safetiness of this trade, and that's why they create this logo. So the logo must be in all the websites that sell internet products, and including in non-pharmacy outlets. So, for example, supermarkets who sell non-prescription medicines will be also using this logo. The logo works with an interlink. So you click in the logo and it readdresses you to another website, providing you a list with the legally established provider. Sorry. This is the design of the logo. You see, so this is a pictogram. You have the white cross, then you have the national flag, and a test with the language of the member state where the provider is established. All member states have, by this time, so they should have adopted this logo. But many member states are very behind, so it's not being adopted. So like 8 or 9 members still have not communicated to the Commission the measures of the logo. The logo is very unsecure. It's true this point was made by our French colleague. This logo, so this system was already used in the UK. And we heard from our UK colleagues that the system was falsified. As was mentioned before, it's very easy to cut and paste and link different pages. So it's very important when you implement this logo that you take measures like mentioned by our colleagues. So it has to be someone to monitor whether this is done under the legality. So this is the first, this has the honor of being the first site that is using the logo. It's called Medical Specialist. You see the logo there. It comes from the UK and was authorized the 18th of August. So the system is running. So what PGEU achieved in the logo? PGEU achieved not to use the green cross for the logo, because what this was the Commission wanted. So in the beginning they wanted to have the cross, the green cross. We wanted to have something else, and at the end we got something between. We got the white logo, the white cross. If you think about it, it's very important because this will be used also by supermarkets. So we don't want to have the public to be confused. But I would like to also to mention what we achieved in the falsified directive, because it's something that we forgot. When the falsified directive was discussed in the institutions, there was a lot of talk in the parliament, and they wanted to liberalize the internet selling of medicines. So PGEU worked a lot to state that this was a competence of the member state, and member state can prohibit the internet selling of prescription medicine. Now I will talk about the directive of the recognition of professional qualification. Some of you may already know that this directive regulates the pharmacy profession. So we have a separate chapter together with the doctors, the nurses, midwives, veterinarians, and architects. And this directive, for example, regulates the training of the pharmacists, regulates that the pharmacy training must last at least 5 years, including 6-month trainership. Also, you have a list of knowledge of the skill of the pharmacy, the activities that the pharmacy must pursue when they change from country to country, when they move, and also the course of training. This directive was enacted in 1985, and the list of activities was very old. So we took advantage, and in the revision of 2013, we wanted to extend the pharmacy activities. We got these 3 new activities. So you have the pharmacovigilance services, reporting of adverse reaction of pharmaceutical products to competent authorities. We got also the second, which is very important, this personalized support for patients who administer the medication, because we are aware that in some countries this has been used to promote pharmacy service, like for example in Lithuania or in Ireland. And also this contribution to local or national public health campaigns. We are now currently working in the annexes, in the curricula, was mentioned before by Jan. So we want to change the curricula. We will see what we achieve. I don't know if we will be able to put there pharmaceutical care, but we may try. And I hope to report to you about these changes next year. I'm also requested to talk about the CAR. What is the CAR? The CAR also follows the directive. And the CAR is not a car. It's to improve the mobility of professionals, and it's an electronic certificate issuing to the professional proving that the titles are okay. It's used and is linked to the IMS system. This is an electronic system that is put in place by the Commission. It works like that. So the applicant goes to the home member state and requests the CAR. The home member state checks the titles and certifies that this is okay, and sends through the IMS system this request to the host member state. The host member state validates the CAR, and this is the system. As you see, it's quite different from the system that is working today, because today the applicant needs to go to the host and prove they are the titles. So this is very good for the professional because it's quicker, takes less time than the traditional system, is very easy, and also has an application online. So applicants can apply online, and they can check the application procedure. So PGEU, what we did on this, we advocate for the CAR, because the CAR is not for all profession. It was a call of interest, and our members decided that was very interesting for pharmacists moving. So we answered to the call, and we were selected with other professions, with the nurses, with the psychotherapists, real estate agents, and the mountain guides. The implementation is expected by 2016. Then I will talk about the data protection regulation, but this is a bit more complicated because the other 2 dossiers, they are over, but this is an ongoing dossier. So in this dossier, you have the 3 institutions. We had 3 institutions in Europe working in the legislation: the Commission, the Parliament, and the Council. So we have 3 different opinions on this proposal. This is a huge reform in data. The data regulates the gathering of personal data. And it not only affects health, also, for example, affects research, social services. Google, Yahoo are very worried about this proposal. So there were some interesting developments in this proposal. In the original proposal, we have specific provisions on health. The Commission had a lot of power, and it was very difficult to gather health data. However, this has changed. Another development that I know that is of interest for our Greek colleagues is that now, it was not in the beginning, now the test includes pseudonymous data. Pseudonymous data is data that you need additional information to get to the data subject. For example, if you had in the pharmacy some numbers that with the code you go to the patient. So that would be pseudonymous data, and this is included in the regulation. So this is relatively bad because then the principles of the regulation applies to this data. So to be able to disengage from the regulation is very important that the data subject cannot be identified. Then you are out of the regulation. So what have we achieved here so far? This is a bit, because still it has not concluded, so we will see. It's a bit premature. But so far, what we were calling is to have flexibility for member states to regulate the data. This is very important for the pharmaceutical records. We heard before that this is a key tool in the pharmacy to develop. So in the beginning, we could have that only with explicit consent. Now the latest test offers several possibilities. So you could have an ambiguous consent, so it's not that strict, and also no consent at all. But all these possibilities will depend on member states' will to go through one channel or to the other. But that was PGEU advocates. Also, we didn't want the Commission to have powers on this, because that would be a bit left to someone else to decide in health data that is a national matter. So far we are achieving these 2 points. I conclude with this slide, my presentation. This slide summarizes a bit our working procedure. So whenever we had a legislation, we produce a statement with your help, and also following this statement, we produce amendments to change the legislation. The legislation, as I said, in Europe is done by the Council, the Commission, in the Parliament. And it's very important, especially in the Council and the Parliament, your help. All what we achieved was thanks to you. So I hope we can carry on working together on the dossiers.